Um, so Wednesdays is typically our lifestyle segment, and we've talked a lot about a number of different things about training and motivation and things like that. But this May is actually our 10-year anniversary for CrossFit NOLA, and one of the ideas we had was to just have Mollie and I discuss or talk about how we decided to start the business and why we did it, and kind of how things evolved over the years. And so we spent really a decent amount of time over the past week, kind of like, what should we share? And I've come to the conclusion there's probably in the neighborhood of like 15 to 20,000 photos that we've accumulated over the course of 10 years. And I was like, well, let's get some photos together. And we just had so many. And it's really hard to pick kind of what we want to share with you. So we don't have a ton of photos. We figured we would just kind of share our thoughts and kind of how things progressed since 2010. We met through training. I think my door's locked. Yeah, my kids are trying to break in. So Mollie was working out, and I was working out. I worked out at University of New Orleans, and I was basically looking for different ways to train. If you ever come to the free intro, you heard the story before. But out of college, I worked for an insurance company for a while, and I got sick of doing that. Decided to go back to school for mechanical engineering, and I couldn't get a graduate assistantship. So I said, I'm going to work at the gym, and I just started basically cleaning stuff. This was back in like 2006-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood, and got personal training certified and started taking clients and ran the personal training department for a couple of years, and got interested in CrossFit and heard about it and decided to try it out, and it ended up being a lot of fun. And there was a competition outlet which intrigued me because I had competed in high school and middle school and things like that, and I didn't have any outlet like that. And there was a way to kind of compete in like a fitness avenue, which I thought was cool. So CrossFit at that point was having a yearly competition, and I decided I was going to train for it. And this was like 2009. I was going to train for 2010. And we were going to go to Texas and compete in this competition in Austin. It was going to be in March for Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana. Maybe, were there any more? Maybe it was just South Texas. It was called the Central Texas, South Central Sectional, something along those lines.
I think it was Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi.
So my wife and I, we worked out at University of New Orleans and Tulane at Riley Center, and we would do dumb things like I would bring rings in and hang them from the rafters, and I would do muscle up practice on like Tulane's rafters in their like gymnasium before anyone was awake to know that I shouldn't be doing that. And my wife didn't have access to bumper plates, so she said, I'm going to go train at CrossFit New Orleans, which existed. It was in Metairie. It was on Airline. I don't think it still exists. But they had bumper plates there, and she was going to drive out there and train for this competition in Texas. And that's where we met Mollie. Mollie was going to go to this same competition, and we met Brandon there too, and Brad and a number of other people. And that's kind of how we got started, or we crossed paths, was training for this 2010 competition in March, which was in Texas. Mollie, is that kind of what you remember?
Sort of. I have a are you gonna it's similar, but I think I actually met Andrea at CrossFit New Orleans before we went there, but it could have been she started coming after we met there. I'm not totally positive, but do you want me to tell my backstory?
Go ahead. Why don't you go jump in, and I'll pull up a picture.
Okay, so my background is very different from Jeff's. I'm actually, most of you know, I play for the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra. So in 1996, I actually moved to New Orleans from Boston. I'd gone to school at New England Conservatory, and I got a job with the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra. And I played, and I always exercised, but I did stuff like aerobics, and I went to Gold's Gym. My dad was a runner, so we kind of grew up doing family fun runs. And then 2005, Katrina hit, and I lost my house, and I moved to Houston because that's where my parents lived. And I was kind of bored, but it opened up a lot of opportunities. Like Katrina, for me, I took it as I'm going to just do this. And I wanted to do a triathlon. And I borrowed my best friend's bike, and I learned how to swim. Like I did an open water swim, which I almost killed myself. It was pouring down rain, and my mom was standing out there with an umbrella, like thinking I was going to die. And so I kind of got started in triathlon at that time. For 3 summers, I trained out in California to compete, like to go to Worlds. So I went to Worlds for the sprint triathlon distance in 2009. But the way I got there was I met this pose running coach who did CrossFit in California. And this was like 2008, 2009. And he taught, and I started doing CrossFit Endurance. Following the CrossFit Endurance site, I was running, biking, and swimming. And then California had some of the first CrossFit gyms. So I did CrossFit probably in 2000, at the end of 2008. And I could not even pick up a barbell. Like I was so weak. I was really fast, but I was so weak. After my last race in 2009, which was in Australia, I was like, I'm over it. That's me. So there's me, my triathlon days, and that's me. That's what I looked like. And that's Jeff and Andrea. I was like 30 pounds less than I am now. It's crazy. That is me. Can you believe it? So in 2009, in November, I decided to get my level 1 certification, and I got it with Adrian Bosman, who's like one of the first, I guess, I don't know. I feel like I was maybe one of the first people that got my cert out there. And then I came here to New Orleans, and I actually started working out at CrossFit New Orleans. And I convinced the guy to let me start teaching. So I was teaching a couple classes a week, and I think that's when I met Andrea. But then I met Jeff at that competition. So after the triathlon days, I was like, I want to do CrossFit forever. It's like an incredible sport. I actually hurt my back really bad at the first open that we did. It was like a 2,000 meter row, and you had a deadlift at that time 185. That's me snatching and doing a kettlebell swing. Look, show the snatch again, how terrible it is. That was 65 pounds. I could barely do it. And that's Jeff, and he actually struggled with 95 pounds, I remember, which is very strange.
In the grass. You had to stomp the grass down so you could get the rope to not catch.
And it was like 15 snatches to start, and you do 15 overhead squats at the end with 65 pounds, and I could barely do it. And there we also had to do, was it there? Yes. We had to do, they introduced handstand push-ups for the first time, and Jeff taught me how to do them in the hotel room. And the workout was 3 rounds of, I think, like power cleans, 2 handstand push-ups, which people were doing in the dirt on a barn wall, like a metal wall.
This is actually the wall back here. If you can see behind me on the rower, there's this little lip right here. And so people's feet would catch on the lip. But it was, the pavement was hot, and you did burpees on the pavement, handstand push-ups on the pavement, and it was sketchy.
It was awful. But you can see Jeff and I looked very different back then. I think we look younger now.
It was you and me, and Brandon was there, and my wife competed, and Brandon's current wife was there also. And then there was a girl named Christy, I think. And we were the New Orleans crew. And at this competition, my life was kind of in limbo at that moment. My wife was in med school at Tulane, and how med school works, if you don't know, is you would match to a residency program. You rank the ones that you want, and whatever you get matched, that's where you have to go. So that's why our med students leave every year. Match days in, I think it was March. we find out where our med students are going. For example, Chad got matched in New Orleans, so he's staying, but Selena got matched at Stanford, and so she's moving. She doesn't have a choice once you get matched. And I had my wife rank Tulane higher, and I said, if we end up staying, I'm going to open a gym. We were also looking at moving out to the West Coast, and I didn't want to move to a new city and try and open a gym, especially because there was 0 gyms in the city of New Orleans. And in like Seattle, there was, I don't know, 30, 20, a lot. So it'd be really kind of, it wouldn't be something I wanted to do, to go move to a brand new city and try and open a brand new business and not be familiar with the area or the community or anything like that. But I felt comfortable doing it in New Orleans. And we had the conversation. If I stay, I'm going to try and open a gym. And Mollie's like, that sounds like fun. And she kind of jumped in, and
We just did
and
it.
that was like, we'll talk about it later. We'll find out where we match. We ended up going through match day after this competition, and we found out I was going to stay. And so I said, Mollie, I'm going to stay. I'm going to attempt to open a gym. Are you interested? And she said, I think so. Sure. I don't remember if you were super excited about it.
Well, I remember he came over to my house. We sat in my living room. We had a sheet of paper. We were trying to figure out, I was like, all we have to do is figure out how to pay the rent. All we have to do is figure out how to pay the rent. And I think neither one of us, I don't think we paid ourselves for like 2 years. But we ordered a package from this place called Christian Fitness. That was like
Christian
a starter gym set. And Jeff looked at a ton of buildings, and I went with him, and we basically just went around looking at buildings. We're like, well, this looks good. And every place we looked was like just a dump. Like everything was a dump.
So I pulled these from our blog. You guys can go back and look at this. This is May 10th, 2010. But that is the building that we went into, what it looked like before we got it. So we sat down and we started thinking what we needed. We needed equipment. We needed a building. We needed to affiliate. And we started looking at properties. We looked at a lot of stuff. Strangely enough, we actually looked at the building that we are currently in now for Mid-City, the 3610 Toulouse Street. We looked at getting into part of that building. Most of it was used for Mardi Gras storage, but we toured that and we were looking for the very first gym. But this is the Joliet Street Gym. If you walk around the corner from Birth Street, you can see what it looks like now. But it looked like it was an auto repair place, and we painted the doors red, and we moved in and we started training people. And we were going. We said if we can get enough people to pay the rent and have a place to train, because we both kind of wanted to compete in things, then we're in business. So that's what happened. At the end of May, Andrea and I went to regionals. So in that first competition, I ended up finishing 31st or 33rd, and I got
31. I think you were 31.
It took the top 30, and someone didn't go, and I got a spot. And same thing with my wife. She finished like 30. She was a little further, but she got a second chance spot. And I think Mollie, did you get one also? But you were hurt.
I finished 5th, but I hurt my back in that deadlift workout, and I couldn't move my neck for like months. So I didn't go.
Andrea and I drove to Texas that next month. We competed in the regional. I might have a picture of that. I don't remember what all these pictures are. No, this is our opening soon. That was my friend Joe, who I was training at University of New Orleans at the time. But the gym is kind of put together. We had the whiteboards all along the wall. Their regions at the end of May was in Dallas. We drove a car without air conditioning to Dallas, Texas in May to go compete at the regional. And it was fun. It was crazy. So
I did Weighted Cindy.
Yeah, Weighted Cindy. It was called what's it called? I think it's called Hell's Half Acre.
Yep, that was it.
Brandon actually, I think, competed at this location in 2009. He did the 2009 regional also, and that was just show up and do it. And I think it might have been at the same place. But as we we kind of got things going, and we started getting members in. We did a Fight Gone Bad event in Baton Rouge, and we brought our banner out there, and there's a group of people that we took out. Our very first shirt is in there. You can't see it very well, but just it was a red shirt. It said on the back, the better you are, the luckier you look. And you had to really think about it. But basically everyone's like, oh, that person has such good luck. It's so easy. But the idea is you just work hard. You work hard to
Yeah.
to make your own luck. But by end of 2011, we were training like 5 to 8 people inside the garage, and we had another class outside, like in the street. We were basically training in the middle of the street on Joliet, teaching people fundamentals. And back in that day, fundamentals was like 3 times a week. So you came in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you were done. Because everyone was basically really new, because we were the first CrossFit gym in the city. I think I have, let me see if I can switch this over to this one. I got a lot of windows open, so I can. Unfortunately, we couldn't find some of the pictures of the like the birth or the original Mid-City gym when we moved into it.
Yeah, it was hard finding pictures.
Yeah, Brandon says he met us at CrossFit New Orleans before sectionals. So this is the very first, or this is the birth street address. What it looked like before we had anything in it. There's a big trench. You can see where the pull-up bar is now located. It was a laundry facility. So in the rafters was like probably a ½ inch of lint. There's Liz, who's our very first employee. You guys might remember her. Eric was one of our very first members. We power washed and we built covers for that trench. And
those jeans.
Yeah.
I remember I stood on a ladder for 2 days, but that's it. And I was at one point wearing like a hairnet or like a shower cap, and I had to go to Lowe's to get more supplies. I remember Jeff was like, whatever you do, don't look at yourself before you go. So I can't believe you found that picture.
This is on our blog. This is on our post from like January 2011.
We still have that vacuum.
Then we moved. We do have that vacuum. We did a group workout of cleaning the gym, pulling the mats out of the gym. I actually have a video of it. Let me see if I can switch to that.
The guy in the front, Scott Madden, he was a really good athlete. He went on one of our first regional teams with Brad and Brandon. Or maybe Brandon was individual, but anywho.
We split over to teams. Can you see that, Molly?
Wait, say that again?
Can you see the video?
Yes.
We made everyone do 50 burpees and then haul mats, and we pulled them all out of the gym. It took about 3 minutes. It was crazy. Oh no, the video is 6 minutes long. It took 6 minutes. Let's go back to
Jeff. I like how that looks like it was shot on like an old Nokia flip phone. That video, that rules.
It probably
very
was.
Possible.
It probably was. And my phone was older than Jeff, so.
Yeah. Oops, going ahead too far. So I have a lot of windows I'm trying to manage. We moved out of the 2-car garage, moved over to that new space in Uptown. 2011, we did the Open, which was the first year of the Open in regionals at the new location on Birth Street. We did barbells for boobs. My wife and I went to an affiliate gathering that year, and we met some of the CrossFit had people in charge, Greg Glassman and Castro and Nicole Carroll, which was really cool for me. We did a little competition called the Fittest on the North Shore with basically local affiliates. Asia Bartow was working out with us at that time. If you know who Asia was, he made the games and for a couple years in a row out of our region, but he trained at our gym for the first one. And then we opened Mid-City at the end of the year. The regional we went to that year was in Tomball, Texas, and it was in late May or June, and it was excruciatingly hot. There's Liz and Mollie and Asia, and we had a little crew that went out with us. Brandon and I, after one of the workouts, were basically just trying to cool our body temperature down a little bit. It was one of the workout is memorable for me. I like to ask people what their most memorable workout is. And the reason it's memorable is because everyone completely destroyed their hands. We had to do 100 pull-ups followed by 100 kettlebell swings, followed by 100 double unders and 100 overhead squats. But the bar was so hot, it melted your hands, and you couldn't swing the kettlebell because your hands were bloody, and it was also hot. And the ground was so hot, we couldn't really do overhead squats unless you were. I had those little.
Can I say there was no such thing as grips? There was no grip. There was no hand protection. So there was none of that. Sorry.
Yeah, that was in regionals. Could make up their own workout, Janelle.
Yes. Yeah, it was so hot. I remember my heat went before Jeff's, and I remember at that time I was really good at cardio, and Jeff thought I was going to die, and I was like, if I could lay down on the ground, I would, but I would scald to death. I mean, it was so terrible. I
couldn't do the overhead squats without standing on a towel. But anyway, that's the crew we took from the gym. Liz and Eric, you guys, if you've been coming for a while, know them. Brad was a head coach. Brandon's there. Damien was a head coach for a while. Scott Madden, his wife. Then Mollie, Ray, and then Andrea and I. But we there's barbells for boobs. Cruised through 2011. 2012, we started getting more certifications. We got kids certified. Again, we did the open and the regionals. We did something called CFIT, which was a group of kids that came through. They came through and raising money. I can't remember what the cause. It had something to do with vision. But Noah Olson was one of the kids who's now. What did he finish last year at the games? Was he podium?
I think he's second. Yeah, Brandon said second. Yeah, I think it's second. 22nd
regionals. No. But this is the CFIT group. This is Noah Olson down here wearing our CrossFit NOLA 504 shirt with Mollie. This guy over here is Dylan. He's one of the MCs for CrossFit now. Can you guys see my mouse? I don't know if you can see where I'm.
Yes.
But this crew came through and they stopped at a number of gyms on the way through and they did a little fundraiser. It was kind of a unique thing looking back that this is a second place finisher in the games. And this was like before he even was competing. He and I were both competing and I had seen his name from other stuff. This is a barbells for boobs event we went to in Hammond that year. All the affiliates went. There's a big showing. It was fun. Is when the Hurricane Isaac ripped the roof off of Mid-City. So we were operating out of half the gym for a while, and you can see the sunlight coming in through the roof. But they had to redo the entire roof that year. And we showed up, and there's just a gaping hole in the roof. You remember that, Mollie?
Yeah, I think that was the summer. That was 2012 or 11? 11?
This would have been 2012.
12, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was 2012 because I was teaching in Scotland that summer and I heard all about it from a distance. Definitely 12.
So 2013, we hosted an outlaw camp. You guys might not remember outlaw programming, or if you guys are new to CrossFit, probably don't. But it was like the new thing. It was the new hotness. Everyone wanted to do outlaw training, and I had met some of those guys through my competing, and they ended up doing a camp at our gym. And They never paid us for it. And there was like a big agreement. They were like, we're gonna get some money, and like no one ever got any money from that thing. Cause the guy who ran Outlaw was kind of a knucklehead.
It was Rudy.
Yep. We did open in regionals again that year. We ended up having we had like 60 people, easy. We filled out Mid City. They had a great time in that. My hair was getting long at that point. We did a long hair workout before I cut my hair. I went to the games to watch. We did our second WOD Wars. I think we did our first WOD Wars this year. Yeah, WOD Wars 1 was 2012. We did a in-house competition called the Holiday Hoedown, which was a one-time thing. We had like 90 some people competed at Mid City, and we opened downtown in 2013. So there's our regional team in 2013. Brandon, my wife, Ryan Sullivan, Liz, and then Aaron and Kelsey, who both worked for us, ended up getting married later in their CrossFit NOLA career. They moved away, live in Seattle now. There's Mollie at regionals. This is one of our old members, Trip. He and I just went to the games. I hung out with Trip all weekend, and we messed around and had fun. It was a great time. The long hair workout pictures, if you guys don't remember what that looked like. But it was where a lot of our really good pictures came from, because everyone looked like they were ready for war. But there's a number of it's in Kyle's Facebook page, I think, if you guys are interested in checking that out.
I might be able to do a long hair after this quarantine's over.
There's the downtown gym. So it was used for meat storage, and inside was basically refrigerators. I don't know if you guys can see very well, but there's some structure inside in here, and they had to basically tear it out. It was big foam walls on a raised concrete slab. They had to completely get out of there. So meat storage a long time ago is what the was one of the recent applications for it. But we kind of opened the new gyms based on, we were running out of places to put people. That's how Mid City came about, because we didn't want to move uptown, but this like awesome building was available, and Liz actually found it, and that's how we ended up getting into the Mid City gym. And then we're kind of like looking for another place in the city. We're getting pretty busy. We had coaches that wanted to coach, and that's how downtown came about. And it was not necessarily like, oh, we need to open more gyms. It was like, we have people that want to coach and teach people, and where can they do that? Because we can't necessarily run twice as many classes at the same location, but we kind of know how to run the back end of the gym at this point, and we know how to teach people how to coach. So let's just expand our operation, and that's how downtown came about also. Julie and Damien were the head coaches at downtown. That's some of the build out and equipment getting pictures. But brings us to 2014. Anything else you want to add, Mollie?
No, not so far. I think you're doing a good job.
We went to the Fittest Games, which is a really somewhat big competition in Texas. Brandon and I and Chad and Jason and Elle, and I can't remember who their other girl was. Maybe it was Kelsey. Do you remember, Brandon?
I guess probably Kelsey.
Me and Brandon, I think a team of 4 went there.
It was Liz. Liz was
it Liz?
Oh, no.
The big thing we did was we hosted the 14.3. So CrossFit used to do the open announcements, and they did them at local gyms, and they wanted to do it in New Orleans, and I got on their list and convinced them to do it at the downtown gym, and we did it. And it was probably has a lot of really memorable moments and pictures. We had a little party beforehand, and we had the whole event there with Stacy Tovar and Alessandra Pacelli, and it was a huge deal. We had a really kind of small, I don't remember how many people they let in there. It was not many. It might not have been like many more than 200.
But everyone that was there got a free gift certificate for a free pair of shoes, and you could get any shoes. You get lifters, you get the most expensive shoe they had, and a card would get you whatever you wanted. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, custom shoes. I think these, I can't remember where these ones are. They're either on Kyle's Facebook albums or the gym's Facebook albums. WrestleMania was there 2014. So the wrestlers, we developed a relationship with a lot of the WWE guys. So Cesaro, Seth Rollins in this picture with Mollie and Louise come to the gym.
My favorite,
actually, I think we're, go
we
ahead.
were working out, we worked out in the annex, which was our old location. And the funny story was Brad didn't like people doing, one of our coaches didn't like people doing open gym in Burr Street, like in Uptown. So we kicked out the two wrestlers and made them come over and worked out with me and Louise. So it was awesome.
Because of our relationship with the wrestlers, we probably took 20 to 30 people to WrestleMania that year. They gave us free tickets, and I was really lucky. I didn't even deserve these tickets, but they put me ringside, and I was sitting 5 seats away from Brooke Hogan, and on the other side of me was Bret the Hitman Hart. No, Bret Michaels. I think it was Bret Hart. But anyway, like a lot of the old wrestlers were there, and it was with The Rock was there and Stone Cold. It was cool. This was the year that I made the games, so we took a ton of people out to California. We have a regional picture that was everyone on our regional team or support crew, and then at the games there on the right, I had an incredible amount of people come out from the gym, and it was really kind of a fun thing. Were there like 30, you think?
I would say
Maybe
at
more?
least. I would say at least 30. Because it wasn't just our gym. A ton of people came from our gym. I think other gyms also came. It was just really fun. We all hung out in a group, and at that time you could save seats. Like it wasn't like ticketed. So if you just got in the event, like we would try to figure out which lane Jeff was in, and then we'd sit there and wait. And I remember Andrea was pregnant with Jacqueline. And I remember she would just lay down and I would try to like hover over her to keep her cool, waiting for Jeff to come out. And then when Jeff came out, like he had more fans than anyone on that. Like we were so loud. It was like Jeff was the star of the games. It was fun.
We had a baby shower workout at Mid City. All the boys strapped med balls to their bellies and did a workout. Brandon and I went to the Mid-American Championship that year. We made some contacts at the games, and we kind of got to do a fun competition. But 2014 was probably the most memorable year for me for the gym, just because of like everything that happened. There was like, those are all my I get posts about 2014 like memory posts on Facebook constantly, because so many cool things happened that year. So whether it was like CrossFit coming to the downtown gym, or like the trip where so many people went to California to watch me, it was cool. 2015, we had a group of people that went to Wadapalooza and Open and Regionals. We had our 5th and 6th WOD Wars. One thing I didn't mention is starting in 2012, we were also in charge of the Deep South Shootout, which ended up becoming and remains the biggest competition that was ever in Louisiana. This was the 4th year we did it, 2015. I haven't shared a lot of pictures from that, just because it was like an endeavor that we did, not necessarily part of the gym. It was actually like competed with my time for the gym, so we only did it one more year. We actually there was another local gym that went out of business, and for this year we had a 4th gym. It was called CrossFit NOLA Lakeshore, and Aaron Hyatt and Ryan Sullivan ran it, and some of our members are from there. I think Paul and Gina are from Lakeshore, maybe
Amanda Burke.
But there's still some
Ashley
Lakeshore OGs that come to the gym. We ended up deciding to close it for the same reason they wanted to sell it. It was just not a great space for the amount of people they needed to run it, but we tried it for a year and then we ended up shutting it down. We had a nice little spot. It was in Metairie off of Causeway, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Mollie and I went back to the Mid-American Championship. We brought Erin Hyatt and another girl from New Orleans, Jody, and competed on a team of 6, which was a lot of fun.
That's fun.
2016 is when the coaches started moving away. So from 2010 to 2016, we had 0 people leave. We just had this like staff of people that had fun together. We all worked hard. We all worked out together, and coaches started leaving. Liz, who was our first employee and had been a head coach and ran the Mid-City gym for the most part up until this point, moved to Canada. Aaron and Kelsey got married and left. So it was, as far as the business went, it was kind of unique for us to have people that were such a big part or integral part of the community leaving. So that was where we started getting new faces in the door. I think this was the year Phil joined the coaching staff also. We did our 8th WOD Wars in 2016. It was the introduction of the partner that you didn't know who it was until that is a mystery mate, we called it. So blind pick on the partner. You came in, you drew names, you find out who your partner was day of, which we had a lot of fun with. It made it really easy for people to come in and just worry about showing up to have fun. There's the Wadapalooza team. We took a lot of people from our gym. We rented a huge van. I drove everyone around for 4 days in Miami. We did Team Louisiana. So this was the year that we tried to get a team from New Orleans or Louisiana to qualify for the games. And it was Chad, Phil, and I, and these 3 girls that didn't come to our gym, who we thought would be give us the best chance. Mollie and Phil and I, Granite Games. So this is a Deep South shootout picture. And this was not the last year, but the second to last year. And it was had gotten pretty big. It had gotten into a big operation, and was the reason why we couldn't continue to do it. It took so much time. It was in Gonzales, except it was not at another gym. So we had to either rent our equipment or haul our equipment out there. And it took a lot of effort from the whole staff. If you weren't competing as a member, you were usually volunteering. So the gym was shut down, and fun, but taxing weekends. I think I remember most of the good stuff. There's the WOD Wars 8, the mystery mate, Taylor and Jesus. Ended getting the 2 of the strongest girls paired together, and they had a great time. 2017, as usual, we kind of did the open and the regionals. Mollie went to the Granite Games and competed, and she almost won. She ended up breaking her hand on like the last event of the last day. Phil went to the super regional. I think this was last year Phil competed. And kind of getting into current times, 2018, we did WOD Wars 9. We did the Open. We did 2 WOD Wars that year. Janelle moved in 2018. She moved from Montana. That was a result of more head coaches leaving. I have some more stuff on the staff coming up. But some of our open pictures, we started doing the intramural open and had themes. And there's a WOD Wars 10 picture. We partnered with the Granite Games in 2019. So we took a break from doing our WOD Wars, which will still come back at some point. We started doing some Granite Games throwdowns, and we started turning the Mid-City competition into a bigger competition. 2019 was the craziest year for the gym, because we had 3 competitions that year, in-house competitions at Mid-City, and we also moved the gym, and we had 2 opens. So 2 opens, moved the gym, 3 Granite Games. This was the first Granite Games, I think. Maybe, yeah, it had to be Granite Games. There's a lot of great shots. One of the opens, Mid-City team at one of the opens, the intramural open. Then if you guys, a lot of you probably remember this, is moving the gym. Moving the Mid-City gym was incredibly taxing on all the staff and all the members. It took 3 solid days of work to get everything out of there, and it took another 2 months of work to start getting stuff put back where it needed to be. But ended up in the new Mid-City location. The part we were looking at when we were looking at the very first gym was where the handicap parking spot is. It was that space back there. That was all covered in. We were wondering if that could work, because this was all Mardi Gras float storage at that time. And 2020, we had a spring throwdown in Gonzales, and we closed on March 16th for the first time in 3,592 days. We kind of shifted to online and remote programming, which we've started to get better at. Getting a YouTube channel going, at least temporarily, and then hopefully we can get back into the swing of things in another couple weeks. So we've occupied 6 buildings during our 10 years. We've had 41 people on staff, not including kind of support staff. This is like coaches. We sent 7 teams to regionals. We actually were responsible for 10 marriages. Brandon thought of another one today. So 10 people, 9 people had met at the gym and got married, and the 10th group had their first date at the gym. We've had 4,219 unique visitors with drop-ins and members. We've had 10 WOD Wars. We did 3 Granite Games. Actually, we did 4 Granite Games. One was in Gonzales. We did the Holiday Hoedown. We've done 10 Opens, 3 Intramural Opens, 5 Deep South Shootouts. It's a picture of Molly and I training for the games. But some of our past coaches, we had Liz and Brad and Damien, Julie, you guys might remember fondly, Aaron, Ryan. We have a current staff of 21 people, and there's 5 head coaches with 16 part-time. But it's been kind of really a journey that I would never have expected. I'm gonna stop sharing this. What else do I want to say? I keep thinking that we're in like a bubble, because the amount of knowledgeable, competent coaches that we have in one kind of group is almost unprecedented. Because a typical gym you would go to is going to have like a programmer and a manager and like some coaches, but we have like a group of 5 people right now that have been doing this for almost 10 years each. Brandon's probably more. Is Janelle, are you more too?
No. Well, I mean, personal training as a personal trainer, yeah, but not as a CrossFit coach. 8 years as a CrossFit coach.
Then like to have like the groups of like the powerlifting group, where Kate has become almost a leading expert in Louisiana for powerlifting, and Brandon's probably the most knowledgeable coach, the state, the region, I don't know what you want to say, but to have like the group of people working together that we have has been really cool for us, and I think it's like a really cool product or opportunity for everyone that comes to the gym to access that. The person that comes in off the street that does the free intro doesn't necessarily realize that, but the amount of work and people that have come together to kind of create the CrossFit NOLA community has been really remarkable. All right, Molly, now it's your turn.
I feel like Jeff pretty much said it all. Do you guys have any questions for us? Like things you want to know, things we sort of touched on, you want to hear more about? Do you want to get off the call?
I also have like 166 pictures that I didn't necessarily, Mollie and I like gathered together that we could show.
I do want to tell you the story about that last picture. So when Jeff was going to the games, they had started doing an open water ocean swim, which is really tricky. If you've never done an ocean swim, like the first thing you have to know is how to get out in the water, like in the waves, like, and really get a head start on people. And through my triathlon experience, I was actually a pretty good transitioner and a pretty good swimmer. So I was like, Jeff, you can totally crush this workout. Cause I figured everyone's coming from all over the world. Like maybe people didn't really swim. So I was like, let's go like east, like maybe go to somewhere in Florida. And so anyhow, we were driving and we saw this city called Waveland. And I was like, oh, it's gotta have lots of waves, like for the next city. And literally we probably walked out I feel like we walked like 300 meters out and it was still like knee deep. So
Waveland did not have a lot of waves. Yeah.
It did not have waves. It was barely enough water. Like it was not a good swimming experience. So basically Jeff learned nothing. Like we learned absolutely, I couldn't teach him anything. So we basically quit and went and had lunch. We drove 2 hours to like shuffle through sand and water. And then we had lunch and went home. That was it.
Some of our old shirts, C-Fit bus, some deep south shootout pictures. I think this was probably the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Mollie made the podium in one of them. We always had dogs. Was this Liz's dog?
I think it was Liz's dog.
Competition we did in Fort Walton Beach.
Pensacola?
Yeah.
Where was the
No,
competition
it was Fort Walton Beach.
Brandon, what was the competition where you burned all the bacon?
It might have been that one. I think it was that one. Wait, I burned bacon?
Remember you cooked in the hotel
Never.
room and then it was real bad. It was the hotel pan's fault, to be fair.
I don't recall that. I think that Ryan and I ghosted, didn't we, or something?
You did.
Yeah.
You did go.
Before
you did
bacon
ghost.
was cooked, and you.
No, I think it
I'm
was
not
you were trying to
confident
cook.
that we cooked the bacon.
No, I think you were trying to cook before like one of our competitions.
I may have.
And then we had dinner at Kelsey and Aaron's parents' house.
You remember this one, Brandon?
Dinner.
I definitely do. Lululemon. 1 year regionals, the girls had to snatch a 70-pound dumbbell and 37 times.
Dumbbell snatch. Yeah, it was like 10 times you had to sprint, and if you didn't finish the 10 times, I remember before I was trying to do it, I couldn't even do it on my left arm. So when I got there, I managed to do it. I have no clue how, but
we did an obstacle course race in 2011. It couldn't have the brick touch the ground.
That was my athletic pose.
What else we got here? I threw some of these in there.
I used to wear knee socks all the time. It was like my style years ago. I haven't
Fittest
done
on the
that
North
in a
Shore competition.
while.
Your last year competing at regionals when she was 42.
That's actually the shirt that Louise and I are wearing right now. I had 3 shirts made. That was last year I went to regionals. Like the regular regionals.
After that, I cut my hair. Part of our Wadapalooza adventures, our Miami adventures. Little coaches,
my
Josh.
Shoulder surgery, 2013.
Damien, I think, now lives in Oregon. He might be a farmer.
Yes.
And Ryan works for Training Think Tank and still programs for Brandon. Really, really knowledgeable coach. I think it was a hard decision for him to give up the job he had with us. But he's a really knowledgeable fitness coach.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember Julie? Julie helped after Mollie had her shoulder surgery. She was doing curls. She only needed one hand for that. So there's Dave Castro and Julie and Liz. They were stand-ins for Pacelli and Tovar as they were doing the rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Donzilla, one of our old weightlifting coach.
Mm-hmm. He was great.
He comes back from time to time. The infamous downtown Christmas party where everyone had a little bit too much to drink and played on the equipment.
I think every Christmas party we hosted something at our gym. I think somebody got hurt. Like we did like the one-arm beer snatch.
Oh, I have that video. That's going to make an appearance in the next movement breakdown.
Oh.
There's a WOD Wars picture.
Mm.
Aside from kind of going through the rest of these pictures, guys, that's kind of the short version. It's only been an hour. I'm glad you guys hopped on the call, and it's been an awesome 10-year journey. Our very first official workout post was on May 19th, 2010. So we're getting down to that point. Hopefully we will be back in the gym by that point.
Jeff, that's really remarkable what you said a few minutes ago about sorry, my phone's a little janky, about the irony involved in the handicap space at the current Mid-City warehouse being location considered. 10 years later, look where we are in such style. I mean, that's really something. I'd never heard that before. Wow.
Oh, Mollie actually officiated one of the weddings for the people that met at the gym.
Mm-hmm. They met at Mid-City. Those are Christmas cards. We always have a fun Christmas card every year too.
You guys remember Fabby? Fabby met her husband at the gym. Elise is one of she comes uptown, one of our longest time members.
Mm-hmm.
I think I ended with a lot of the group shots that we often take. Got to make the muscle. Whole life challenges.
Mm-hmm.
WOD Wars 7.
Jeff, did you have any photos of the 2017 Mid-City flood?
Yeah, we have I know I have a million.
I was not there.
I have a ton on my phone, but I think I sent them to you. I don't know that we actually posted them.
So that was Brandon and I were actually at the games watching, like stuff like that flips through your mind. But Nate Scharfman wrote us and said, "Hey, there's a lot of water coming in the gym," and we were trying to figure out if we needed to try and get back to Louisiana that day. I think my screen froze. But yeah, that's another thing that happened. We got 2 feet of water in Mid-City in 2017.
That was one of our weightlifting certs we had here with Chad Vaughn.
Yeah,
and that bruise.
I would actually submit that compared to the stress, compared to the flood, the stress of moving the gym earlier, this autumn was nothing. But cleaning it, drying it out, like sanitizing top to bottom, that was insane.
I agree with you. And I think there's probably a lot of moments that I let slip through my fingers. I've been going down this wormhole of what have we done in the past 10 years, and you can spend a couple hours on year one, like going through. It's like it's all posted and it's all documented, and it's interesting. So anyway, I'm glad you guys tuned in. I hope it was interesting for you guys. If you have questions or you want to dig deeper, we have, again, probably 15,000 photos over the past 10 years. And we could never do it justice by cramming them to an hour. But I kind of want to show the gym kind of was born out of like a need of a place to train, and it grew into something that we couldn't have imagined with hundreds of members and thousands of people kind of touched or crossed paths over the past 10 years. And the goal is and remains to try and help people get better. So kind of based on how can we help people get better, and improving health and fitness is the easy answer. So you guys are definitely a part of that, and hopefully you feel the effects. What else do you guys got?
Oh yeah.
That might be it. I can show you more pictures. We can go through the long hairband, no hairband workout.
All right, I'll bite. I mean, if you're.
Yeah, what do you got, Benji?
I mean, obviously, any retrospective is cause for reflection, but also cause for projection. I mean, what are your dreams for the next 10 years?
It's funny you asked that. My wife said she has an interview with me and Mollie from 10 years ago about where we thought the gym would be, and it's on a computer that we don't have a power cord for. I tried to get into it last night, but I'm wondering what I said 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I'm recording this and I'll put it on YouTube, so hopefully I don't lose it. We need to get back to normalcy first. So I think we're gonna have things are not gonna be right for a year. Like as far as like social distancing and being careful. I don't know if that will affect us for more than months, but so many people were impacted financially, physically, mentally, and the first thing we need to do is like get back into a routine that people can latch onto and continue. I never really had visions to open more than one gym, so the fact that we have 3 and is amazing. So I would not anticipate opening more. I think I would like to improve the experience at the locations that we currently have. So we had been putting a lot into kind of facility upkeep and improvement recently to make those individual gym experiences better. So I see that. I want to see that continue.
Yeah, this is economically, it seems like we're all in a phase right now where growth is not possible, but maybe reinvestment into what we already have is.
There's people that have made really good progress over the quarantine. We had the interview with Rebecca last week, but she took this as an opportunity to dial her diet in, and she's got her family exercising a little bit, and she's been losing weight. I've been trying to lead by example. So I haven't been going to the gym. I have one dumbbell at home, and I make my kid work out with me. And sometimes it ruins my workout, but sometimes it doesn't. And I'm still working out 5 times a week, but I think some people are going to come out of the other end of the quarantine with like a really good routine. They might have dialed something in, and some of us just need to get back into the routine at the gym. So I completely understand that too.
I know it's nice seeing you guys. I feel like it's kind of the same handful of people that are always here, and it's really nice seeing you guys like on a consistent schedule. And I know I look forward to seeing you every time that, you know, I'm on, and I try to jump on everyone's calls. I jumped on Janelle's 6 a.m. yesterday just because I was accidentally awake. But I know she has a group of people that love the early morning. But I know I'll be so ready to see you guys in person, hopefully sooner than later. Yeah.
Cool, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. As always, if you need anything from any of Mollie or me or Janelle or Brandon or any of the staff, just let us know. We're definitely here to help. We're trying to check in with you guys regularly to make sure you're making good decisions. And
we got
people laughing.
We got a Zoom tomorrow at 6 a.m., right? We have a Zoom on Friday, and we have bingo on Friday night. Just for everybody.
Bingo Friday night.
And then Saturday Zoom again.
There might be some trivia questions from the stuff you watched since you jumped in on this. You never know.
You could win.
You could win.
You could win.
The Zoom on Thursday morning is it Friday's workout?
Yes. I think so, right? I'm supposed to teach Friday's workout.
Yeah, you're teaching Friday's workout. Let me make sure that's because it was specifically for the people that want to work out Tuesday, Thursday. But if you're up at 6 a.m., jump on.
Make good decisions.
I'm not telling you to make good decisions. I'm just going to try and help you fix some of the bad ones you made. Do some more squats.
No, Laura said that. It's awesome.
I know. I'm reading it. If I don't see you guys before that, I'll probably be on trivia on Friday night, at least watching. I don't know if Phil's going to give us the answers or not. I think Phil's in charge. So you've been warned.
We got an email. I don't know if you guys opened it.
I haven't opened it yet. I saw it. I saw he sent it. I didn't read it.
Bunch of personal questions.
Oh.
Well, I mean, for trivia, like for trivia,
Yeah.
like not personal in a different context, I guess.